So one was this like situationship that was like on and off for like 15 years.
Oh my God.
Gross. I'm ashamed of myself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Maybe I'm a Hoe. I'm your host, B. Chionne, and I'm here with Nakia Richardson.
Richardson. But I want to say since fourth grade, everyone's been saying Robinson.
Why do I want to call you Robinson so badly?
No, I'm telling you, since middle school, I've been Robinson. So I kind of just go with it.
No, God, that's not your name.
Everyone does it. No, it's okay.
Okay. It's Richardson.
Yes, but it's still an R.
Richardson.
So you were close.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, today's episode is called Just Might Be a Hoe. I hope you guys picked up on the pattern. Like, the episode titles are like named after very salacious song titles. I hope you guys get an idea of what we're going to be talking about today. First, thank you so much for coming to this safe space for the girls where we can discuss healthy dating habits and the nasty bullshit that comes with it.
Thank you for having me and creating this safe space.
Of course.
I feel like we need it.
We do.
We need more.
We do.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so important too because we love our friends and we want to believe that our friends always relate to us and understand. But I have a lot of girlfriends that do not have my dating style, understand my dating style. And it kind of made me feel like I was out there in the wrong or strange or something. And it took me a long time forming myself in my adulthood to be like, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with having like a different group of like different friends.
Yes.
Because I had to go through that too when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my 30s. Where all of my friends, we were all different.
Yeah.
Like I had friends who were just like, I want to be in a monogamous relationship. I want to be a wife. And I had friends who were like, I don't want to be in a relationship. So I have queer friends. So it was very interesting trying to find that balance between friends and also going through the like, is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
Because my dating style's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But my friends creating that safe space and being like, no, we're just all different and we would never judge you and you would never judge us. So
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think it's important to have those type of friendships.
It is. So I want our icebreaker to be something like really fun, kind of ignorant. I don't care. I'm an ignorant ass person. I love ignorance.
I do too.
Okay, so is there a stereotype that you have in dating that you stand 10 toes down behind? Even if, I'll give you time to think. I'll tell you mine.
Yeah, what's yours?
So I always believed that guys, I always assumed that men with small hands had small packages because I believe, you know, that saying like God doesn't give you more than you can handle.
Yes.
And so I took that literally and I'm like, oh, well then they can't have, you know, a lot going on because they wouldn't be able to handle it. And I realized I was proven wrong by that assumption. That was like when I was in college and I was just like,
you're like, you have little hands.
Yeah, I'm like,
you can't really.
Because that's the same thing. Like, I'm like, the little feet thing never.
Yeah, no.
It never made sense to me.
Yeah.
But I always like the little hands thing made more sense.
You know, now that you say like little hands, there's a stereotype that I also learned. Like short men are actually more, you know, well endowed because they are short.
So the length goes
the length and the height went someplace else. Because I've had experience with short guys where I'm like, oh,
what's the shortest guy you've been with?
I'm 5'5", but I pretend that I'm 5'11".
As you should.
That's just who I am. I'm gonna manifest that.
Yeah.
I am well into my 30s, so I'm never going to grow again.
Yeah.
And it's fine. The shortest guy I think I've ever dated was probably 5'6", 5'7".
Okay, that's a woman.
I want to say he's 5. I'm gonna be kind and give him 5'7", but he's probably 5'6".
He's 5'6".
He's 5'6", but I will say, I was like, oh, okay. The height went someplace else. So I will say that's a stereotype where I think people look at short men being like, oh, and I think people also look at very tall men.
Yes.
And being like, oh, they must be packing in.
And I've been very disappointed by some tall men. This is the perfect segue to get into the topic at hand because I talked to Drew.
Yes. Hi, Drew.
And Drew was very frank and was like, you are going through your hoe phase right now. And I love that for you. I was like, when she told me that, I was like, I shine in this topic.
I call this like the adult hoe phase because
Yeah, what's the difference?
I'm 38, very honest. And I think that, so it's interesting, right? They tell people in your 20s you should go through a whole phase. You should have experiences in your life, however that looks for you. And I did and I didn't. It's very interesting because in college I really didn't. My sexual experiences and history is very interesting. It's not till like I got to my 20s and when I moved back to New York City, when I was like, oh, this is great. But I think I did this thing where I was so worried about what other people thought of me. I was so worried about what men thought. And I felt like if I can talk to younger me, it would be like, bro, just do you. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to find the person for you. Doesn't matter if you sleep with that person on the first date or the third month. It doesn't matter if that guy's for you, if that girl's for you, they like you. If not, they're going to find somebody else. So I feel like once I went through like my 30s and a few different heartbreaks, like really serious heartbreaks, I got to the point a few years ago where I just started healing and learning myself and being single. And I'm still in a space where I'm manifesting a boyfriend hard. And I'm like, I want a relationship. I want love. But I'm also in a space after I went through like 2 heartbreaks back to back in healing. I'm in a space where I'm like, God, universe, I'm going to leave it to you. And right now I'm just going to have a good time. And right now I'm just having a good time.
So when you say back to back, like what was the time span in between?
Yeah. So one was this like situationship that was like on and off for like 15 years.
Oh my God.
Gross. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm stupid. I know. And that's part of the healing. Girls, I'm so ashamed of myself. She's an idiot. She's stupid.
Totally fine. We've all
call me stupid. It's fine. She's stupid. It's okay. I'm evolved. I'm an evolved Sagittarius who's now 38. And
you are a Sag.
I am a Sag, and I'm learning. But this person was like on and off. Like once I moved here like 9 years ago. So it was like on and off. Yeah. We were still like, if I would go back to the East Coast, we were still kicking it. And then we had like our last conversation, and I ended things, and I just was like, you're never gonna see me the way I want you to see me. Yeah. And it's literally what I said, and we deaded it. I come back here, and a friend of mine. So here's the thing, right? I have a lot of guy friends. Okay. And it's tough because when you get older, your guy friends want to date you. Yes. And I used to be a champion of that, but now I'm like, absolutely not.
Oh, you were into dating your friends?
I was. Really? I've dated a few of my friends. And
are you guys still cool now?
No. And that is why I am like, so after that, I come home. And my friend reaches out to me and was like, oh my God, I would love to catch up with you. Yeah. Love to take you out to dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, of course. At the dinner is like, I've always had feelings for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this is like maybe a few months after I had let that go. Okay. And I felt like I can trust this person, but I was very honest. I was like, hey, I'm trying to heal. I've been dealing with somebody on and off. I kind of deaded that. I just need for you to just be honest with me because we are cool. We're friends. We've been friends for years. Let's not play games.
Keep it respectful.
Let's just keep it respectful. Yeah. And it was great when it was great. And then it just turned into shit. And I hated this person for a little bit. And now I'm finally over it. Okay. So that's how it was. It was like back to back like that. Okay. And then when that happened, I just was like, yo, I'm good. I'm good right now. I just want to have a good time. I want to heal. Yeah. And in that process, I got to heal a little bit. So now I'm just having a good time phase.
So because I'm very curious still about like the 15-year situationship.
Oof, a mess.
Because out of that 15 years, like what, I'm trying to word this in like the most like sensitive way, but why did it take 15 years for you to realize like it's just not
Because I'm a bored Sagittarius. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, like, were you
what it is? Well, it wasn't like he wasn't the only person that I was dealing with. So it was on and off. So this is someone I met during college. We kicked it. We had like strong feelings for each other. Yeah. But at the same time, we were kind of doing our thing. And then we would come together for like a few months and it'd be really intense. And then we would break it off. And it was like that back and forth for like years. And then we went through a period where we didn't speak for like 2 years. And then we would come back together.
Was it the chase? Was it exciting? Because it was like a little...
It was. Okay. It was the chase. It was very exciting. When I was not evolved, I liked the attention I think that I was getting because I was dating other people. But then when they weren't paying me any attention, this person would then pop up when they were done with their relationship. And I'd be like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
And I think it was also an insecurity because I think at the time, though I was really confident when it came to dating, I was a little insecure where I was like, oh, this boy is giving me attention. And even though he's shitty, here it is. And it just felt good at the moment. And it was like a high, honestly. And then we would get together and then we would fight and then we would break things off. And it was very odd. I then moved here. We stayed in contact, and then I was like, I just want to dead this person. Yeah. But then when I would go back home, we would get up. So that's why I say it's been a span, but not like for the whole 15 years. It's just I think I've known this person for that long.
Okay,
but we just fucked around in that span.
Okay, because when you break it down like that, I totally understand because. My ex, literally the only man in the world that can say he's my ex because I've only had one boyfriend my whole life.
Me too.
It's such a special thing.
Wait, me too.
It's like, in a way, it's kind of like, am I the drama?
No, but honestly, like...
It's kind of like... Well, that's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
That's just what
happened. But I had a hard time with that growing up because I would question myself and be
Me
like,
too.
Well, what is it?
Me too.
Why? And then now as I'm older, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
And
I don't care.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm fine with saying that I've only had one boyfriend my whole life now as an adult. Because... One, I experienced so much in that, but also I allowed myself to go through because I did my whole phase during my 20s. Yeah. And I would say HU.
Hey.
Howard. So that was an easy whole phase.
That would have been that's a great time.
It was a great time.
I could have never gone to that school. It would have been a problem.
It was... It was a problem.
It was a good problem.
It was a good problem, but it was like, it was needed.
Yes.
And so I experienced that. But what I was going to say was like, when I was in that relationship with him, we had our on and offs throughout, even to where we were basically on and off for a good like, I want to say like maybe 5-6 years. Yeah. And it was just because there was that consistency. And it just felt kind of safe because it was familiar.
When you're in there, it's safe. You're familiar with this person.
Even though you know it's not good for you. Yep. I'm not benefiting anything from this. It's completely toxic. He was a Sag.
Oh, okay. Well, Sag men are different.
They're different. They're different. Yeah.
Sorry.
The Sag men are off. I love the women though.
Yes, we're great.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Some of us.
Yeah.
I'm perfect. So.
You're perfect.
It's okay.
But I learned a lot of lessons in my relationship with him. And so sometimes I am like, why did it take me so long to finally accept the fact that this man is no good for me?
Yeah.
But it raised my standards now when I'm dating.
That part. Because there are times where I have moments with myself and I'm like, why did you stay that long? Or why did you keep going back to this person? Because this was like the longest situationship like of my life. Like, why did you waste your time? And now at 38, I do struggle with that a little bit where I'm just like, you wasted a little bit of your time. But then I'm like, well, actually, no, because of this experience, your standards have now risen. You're way better than what you were. And you're not insecure like you were at 25.
Right.
I went through my whole phase in my 20s, but then of course, because I got these weird situationships where it was like, okay, finally, it's like a relationship, so I'm going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
So that's what it took a minute.
With hope for potential to be
that
born.
part. Yeah. Being like, so are we going to do it or not? Relationship? No? Okay, cool. And just being super, can I curse?
Of course.
Super fucking insecure about dating.
It's also hard because when you see your friends in these relationships. And then we were talking about how like it feels good to just be able to say I have one boyfriend. Yeah. Back in the day, I had one girlfriend who was just like in and out of relationships and always just talking to a different guy. And I'm like, well, why is she always getting this attention? Like, what is it about her? Like, why can't I like attract guys like that too? I want to be in and out of. Come to find out, it was her own insecurity. So we were both battling our own insecurities. They just looked very different.
And on different spectrums.
Very different spectrum. So it's kind of one of those perspective versus perception. Yeah. The grass is green on the other side type of situations. Yeah. And I think just the biggest lesson to take away is like someone's reality.
Baby.
It's most of the time it's fiction.
That part.
And it's not for you.
And you never know what people are going through.
At all.
So that's why I think where I am in life, I'm just having a good time, whatever that means, whatever it looks like. And I will say, I think this is the most fun I've ever had in dating. Now that I'm older, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like Drew said, like I didn't have a name for it, but I was like, maybe this is my adult whole phase. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just vibing. I'm like, I'm just here with the vibes, going on dates. I'm hanging out with guys. I'm not looking, I'm not looking for anything, but I'm just very honest where I'm just like, if you're not going to be honest, please don't come forward. Like I'm looking for someone to be in a relationship with, but I'm also having a good time right now. Yeah. If you are not in that lane, get out of here. Then let's just have a good time. That's because I don't need you to fake the funk and then something happens and then no, I'm good.
So in your dating adulthood phase.
Yes.
Obviously, like you said, your standards are different now because you're 38, you're grown, and you're looking for something more serious. What are some deal breakers other than like faking the funk that you feel like is enough for you to be like, you know what, this is fun, but it's not fun enough for me to want to continue to entertain this?
Deal breakers are being passive aggressive. I just hate people who are passive aggressive. I don't hate the people, but I just hate passive aggressiveness. Just be honest.
The energy.
And I understand sometimes people don't like confrontation, especially when it comes to dating. Yeah. And I know for some people it's just easier to ghost, but I'm a big girl. We're older. Yeah. It's okay to rip the Band-Aid off. I respect you more if you just say like, hey, I'm good on you, or this is just not where I want to go. I had a good time. And then I can be like, okay, cool. And then we move on. That's a deal breaker for me. What else? I just need to know, like, you're single, like, because that's the thing that I'm asking people now. Yes. Where in my 20s, I used to be afraid to ask men that because I think I wanted to just hold on to something. Yeah. Where now I'm like, are you single? Are you single dating? Are you dating someone? Are they serious about you? Yes. How are they feeling?
Do you have someone that would be upset about you being on this date right now?
Are you sending good morning texts? I watch a lot of true crime. Would they pull up here? I need to know everything.
Yes. Like, wait, can I tell you the craziest story ever? Yeah. When I first met my ex, I didn't ask those questions. Yeah. And come to find out, he was still kind of like messing with his ex. I didn't know. So I'm at his house one night, and he lives like in a townhouse. He's on the second floor. Yeah. So if you look up at the second floor, that's his bedroom. So the light was on. We're chatting, whatever. Out of nowhere, I hear like this glass crash.
Oh my God.
And there was just like a gush of wind. And so I was like, what is that? And then I saw a brick on the bed.
No.
She threw a brick through the window. And that's what flew past my face. The brick almost busting me in my shit.
No.
Because she didn't know about me. I didn't know about her. He knew about us.
Right.
She found out and she just lost her mind.
And this is why I ask these questions now. Yeah. I never asked those questions before. Yeah. Because of fear of losing the guy. And I think a lot of us go through that. Where now I'm like, what's happening? Who is on the other end that you're talking to?
You have to protect yourself.
Exactly. So that's a deal breaker for me. I just want to know like what you're dealing with and what you have going on. And just like how you carry yourself. Like, are you in therapy? Are you open to therapy?
That is such a good question.
Like how's our mental going? How can we go forward with this? Because, I'm older now, and I don't have it all figured out, and it's okay. Because I feel like people who are older feel like they have it all figured out, and we don't. No. We just have a number.
You're supposed to?
We feel like we're supposed to, and now that I'm at this age, we don't, and it's okay. But I just need to know like what you're working with. I just need someone who's going to be honest 100%. Yeah. If you can't be honest, that's a huge deal breaker for me.
I've found myself always like asking the very similar questions on my first dates. Yeah. But something I also love asking them is, what's a red flag about you?
That's a good question.
And I'm going to ask you that question too. Like, what is a red flag about you that you feel like a guy should know on a date with you?
A red flag about me? Maybe I'm conceited. I don't know.
I think you're so, it's hard because conceited. I feel like there's a difference between conceited and self-aware. Yes. And maybe you're just very self-aware and you love who you are. I do. That's it.
That might be the red flag. I'm like, I love who I am.
And there are some men who can't take that.
And I've dealt with that.
There are a lot of men who can't.
The situationship that I was in for that long period of time, he was insecure.
Yeah.
And he would say and do certain things to hurt my feelings, to kind of lower me down, because he couldn't take how confident I was. So he would try to kill that. Like, this is so embarrassing, but it needed to happen. I'll never forget this moment. This fucking guy, I pray you're listening to this. We were at brunch with him, me, my best friend, and my aunt at the time.
Okay.
And we were pretty much kicking it. And I remember my aunt and my best friend were like, oh, you guys are like a cute couple, or like you guys are kicking it because like you're up here all the time, you're visiting. And this fool looked at them and was like, I don't like her like that. At the table at brunch. And
what did you do?
When I tell you, I like sank so low into myself.
Of course.
I was like, did he just say that? And he's like, no, we just cool. I don't like her like that. When I tell you, that hurt my feelings so much. But it also, because I'm very petty.
First of all, I'm sorry that you experienced that.
I appreciate that. But I'm okay now. Like, I had to go through that. And it was very traumatic.
Of course.
And I'll never forget, because I'm petty AF.
Yeah.
I did something very petty after that, but I didn't address it in the moment. But that really, really hurt my feelings. And that's something that stuck with me for like ever. And I realized that was his insecurity. And he was trying to like chop me down because I was so confident.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was so lit. Like, I just thought, I do think I'm like the best person on the planet. And he literally said that. And I was like, oh, cool.
And then there are some people, not to say that you do it, but there are some people who are insecure, but they bring out a lot of them on that exterior, and on inside they're just like really, really suffering. So he doesn't know what that could have done to you in your mental space.
That could have been my 13th goddamn reason.
For real.
Stupid ass boy.
No, for real.
But it's all good though. Like, everything happens for a reason, and I needed to hear that because I felt like that's the point when I should have left that's this stupid situation. I kept going. Like, we had this big fight, stopped talking to him, and then as soon as he would hit me up, I'd be like, okay, yeah. And I feel like that was God in the universe being like, girl, we're giving you so many hints. And I was like, I can't see, I'm blind. And it's not until well into my 30s where I was like, sis, stand up. So
because those are things that eventually work you into your hoe phase.
That part.
And the way you navigate your hoe phase is a reflection on moments like those and interactions like those. Because I've experienced, I can't count on my fingers, toes, your fingers and toes, the amount of assholes that I've dealt with throughout my dating hoe phase. To where I kind of adopted a very, very toxic trait of kind of like talking to a guy and then I pay attention to the things that he likes in a woman, and then I mutate into that.
Okay.
And so
I've done that before.
So I've done it so many times that eventually it just became innate. So then I would be with a guy and I'm dating him, and then once my real personality starts to show and he's kind of like, well, what is this? Like, why are you talking like this? And I'm like,
who's this lady?
Nigga, that's who I am. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, this isn't the girl I met before. So I have to morph back into that to reel him back in because I don't want to lose him. And so it was just like, I was never able to be myself. And that's why I was always like bouncing from like one guy to the next, because I'm like every other personality but my own.
That's real. That's how I feel like. That's why I talked about like the weirdness, because I felt like I couldn't be myself with certain guys. Even like I'm a tomboy through and through. And once in a while, like I like dressing up. I feel like I have great boobs. I like to show them sometimes. But 90% of the time I dress like this. But I'd be in like relationships or situationships with like the guy I just described, where I felt like I had to be a little bit more girly. Or I had to dress up a little bit more girly, or have a different personality and not be my goofy self. And then when I actually met someone who was cool, they'd be like, well, what happened to like your cool side? And I was bringing something from a past relationship because I was so traumatized.
PTSD.
Instead of just being myself. Where now you get all of me 100%. This is just who I am. This is how I'm going to show up. Like I'm so evolved now, and I'm still evolving.
When you were going through your healing phase, how come you didn't get to that point of like being the one hurting guys? Because that's an easy thing to slip into. Like, hurt people.
I did that already in my 20s.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's a 20-year-old thing. I'm just saying that's where I was when I was hurt. I would hurt people who deserved it.
Okay.
If that makes sense, because I
Justice.
wasn't out here like dating innocent guys and hurting them on purpose
Yeah.
and turning them into, because I'm very self-aware. It would be the guys who deserved it and they weren't great people.
Yeah.
And that's very toxic, but I went through that where I was hurting feelings. I felt like I was getting get backs and lick backs, and I would talk to people who I knew weren't shit on purpose so I could get them back. Where now I just don't have the energy and time for games. Even when dating, like, I remember I asked my friend and I was like, oh, should I text this guy back? And she's like, no, you should wait. I'm like, girl, we too old. I don't got
We're
time
not playing
for games.
Like, if you want to talk.
Exactly. Where I would do that. Like, I would wait like a few hours or a day, where now I will text you back automatically. I don't have time for games. So for me, I don't have time for that, because I know I want to intentionally date, and I know I'm looking for a partner. So it's one of those things, if my feelings, when I was healing, I thought about it, and then I just was like, girl, we ain't got time. Let's just heal, keep it moving, so that way the universe and God can bless you with something. Because when you were doing that in your 20s, I thought back on it, I was like, you actually were not having a good time. It was fun in the moment, but you wasted so much time. So that's why I didn't entertain that. I was like, girl, yeah, no.
And the wasting time is so real, because for some reason we're programmed to feel like we should only be talking to one guy at a time. And
wasted so much time.
You put all your eggs into one basket just for them to fall out the bottom of it, and he just like goes on his way, and you're starting from scratch trying to pick up your eggs, trying to figure out, where did you go wrong? What happened? What could you be doing better? And you're harping on this one man, whereas had you spread your eggs out, if he dropped your eggs, you wouldn't be tripping, because you got four more over at Bradley's house.
I used to feel guilty, like when I was dating like maybe one or two people or three people, and I'd be like, oh no, but I feel so good. Well, now I'm like, absolutely not. Putting that egg in that one basket, like you said, and getting your heart broke, and then they have moved on because they had their eggs all over the goddamn place. And you're just sitting there like, wow, now I'm depressed and I have to figure this out. Where that's why I tell people, if you're going to date intentionally, but don't just put your egg into one basket until this person is honest and they're serious, and you two have understanding where you're serious with each other. And the next step is a relationship. But I'm big on wasting time, because life is way too short and we do not have any time.
So I'm sure there's going to be a man listening to this or hearing you or something, and he's going to say something like, she just doesn't sound like she knows what she wants. Because she says she's going through a hoe phase, but she also wants a man, and she wants a boyfriend, but she's having fun, and you can't do both. And I want to get an understanding of how you view being able to have the best of both worlds, and basically dating with intention while still putting yourself first.
I think you can do both. I think honestly, it's just being honest with yourself. And when you're meeting a guy, being extremely honest, because I kind of fell into the fun phase, the hoe phase. It wasn't just like something I woke up and was like, I'm gonna have a hoe phase. It just happened. Like I went through these heartbreaks, and then I started meeting these guys, and to me, I wasn't really taking them in serious, because they were not showing me that they were serious. And I kind of I met them where they were. And I think people have to start meeting people where they are. And I'm very honest. Like, I would meet guys and it would be like, I'm looking for a relationship, but I'm going to meet you where you are. And if you would just show me that's not what you were doing, I have no problems cutting you off, honestly, by telling you, not ghosting you. Whereas before I would hold on to it, then it become a situationship, and then I would regret it. So it's one of the things where I think I can do both. I know I can do both, where I'm single, and that's what single people should be doing. You should be having a good time. You should be open to dating whoever. And maybe you don't want to date, and that's okay. But at the same time, being honest with yourself and your partner or whoever comes across your atmosphere of like dating. I'm having a good time, but I'm also very honest with myself and people. Like, I'm looking for a relationship, but if that's something you can't offer, please let me know now. There is the door. If you want to do happy hour, okay, we can hang out, and then it goes from there.
Then and usually it kind of dies off, like,
and then that's
because like if you know that you want something intentionally, you want something serious, and then it gets like bogged down to happy hour, and then I text you here and there. Eventually it's like, I'd rather just not.
That, and I'm also in a space where it's like, I'd rather just not talk to you. And I'm okay with that.
I don't need more friends. I want a man.
That. And the people who have come to in my life, they were either friends or we were cool. I'm cool with them. And they were the people I didn't mind in my space. Because I'm also in a very single space where it's like, I wasted so much time. I'm not wasting any more time. Like, if that's not what you want, you can peace out.
I think what you said also is so important about just like being real with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. I'm not going to say people. I feel like a lot of women are afraid to do that because it forces them to be accountable for their actions, their energy that they bring, the thoughts they have, just everything. And it forces them to stand 10 toes down behind what they say they want.
That part.
Because a lot of women will enter the dating scene and say, I'm not putting up with this, this, and this, and meets a guy that does everything that she didn't want, but because he's bringing her that attention that she was lacking before, she makes excuses and he's the exception, and then she ends up damaging herself. Yeah. And that's a dangerous pattern to be in when you're in your hoe phase.
It's a dangerous pattern. And I also think that people are not honest with themselves because I know that, like, especially for like women, and I had to hold myself accountable for this too, where I'd be like, I want to date, I want a boyfriend, but I wasn't really serious about it. Yeah. And I didn't realize that until I started like really dating, and I was like, oh, do I actually want this? And I had to be really honest with myself in the moment, where now I do. I'm in a better space. I am healing. I'm healed from all the past trauma, from the heartbreaks, where I'm like, actually, I do want to date. I want to have a good time. I don't say I'm anti-dating app, but I'm not a fan of dating apps.
Same.
But I had to do this thing where it was like, okay, but you live in LA, so maybe you have to try it. And you want to date with intention, so that's something that you have to add on, because it is a little different in LA. So just being honest with myself a little bit more and being like, girl, you have to re-download it. Sorry.
And compromise in those spaces too.
That part.
And be very like conscious of the situations that you're putting yourself in, whether that's being on a dating app, the way you present yourself on the dating app,
that part,
going out to the right places with the right friends and having the right people around you. It's a lot when you're intentionally dating.
It's a lot. And even like changing my date, like I would have a dating app and it would be so unserious. Yeah. Like Drew redid my app for me because she was like, Nakia, let's be for real. If you read it, none of it's serious. Like one of the questions was like, what's one of your favorite things? And every answer I wrote, I love to eat. I love to eat. And
I hate people like
and
you.
And I literally
hate that.
I wrote one time, I was Joan of Arc in my former life. And that's from Coming to America. And I wanted to see who got the joke. And a few guys were like, is that from Coming to America? And one guy was like, wait, you think you're Joan of Arc in your former life? And I'm like, no, they don't get the joke. Delete. But then
they're not the problem.
But I'm the problem.
It's you.
I'm like, yo, I'm an asshole. And it was so unserious.
Yes.
So Drew was like, how serious do you want? And now I'm like, okay, I'm serious about this. So we went through, I changed things. I changed some of my photos. I took a lot of things off where now it's actually really serious. Okay. But I can be very honest. My profiles were so unserious.
I wish I saw it.
Yo, a guy that I used to date in New York texted me one day. I guess when I was home in New York, we like pinged each other, or he came across my profile. He texted me and was like, yo, bro, what's your problem? Why do you have nothing but food on your profile?
Not and I was what's like, wrong.
Did you see my profile? Don't get out of here. But he was like, are you, and he had to call me out and was like, are you serious about dating, or you're just on here? And I was like, oh,
did that sober you up? Like,
it did.
That was the nail in the coffin for you.
I was like, oh, okay, no, I was kidding. And he's like, why are you on here? And I'm like, first of all, if you're not going to swipe, don't text me.
I was going to say, why didn't he swipe? You're a hater.
Exactly, you're a hater. That sobered me up a little bit, where I was like, oh, girl, you really want to date. Like, let's get serious.
Something else you mentioned, too, was like meeting guys where they're at.
Yes.
And that relates to the question that I said about the whole red flag thing. Yeah. Because my biggest thing is I don't even care. Oh, I care about what the red flag is. Yeah. But my follow-up question is always like, what are you doing to better yourself or improve on that? Yeah. Because it shows awareness. Yeah. You know that that's a problem for you. And if you are consciously just being like, oh, well, that's who I am, so that's it. I am not going to take you on as a project. I'm not the fix you girl. I'm not the help a hoe. Like, I'm not that girl. Yeah. You had 30 odd years to fix that about yourself, and you don't need me to help you because you clearly have no intention of doing that.
That part. Someone who's not willing to grow or be open-minded, I can't. Because like you said, like, I'm not taking on this project. Yeah. We've taken on many projects in our 20s. I'm not doing it. I just need you to be honest. Yeah. And And that's why I meet people where they are. Because if I feel like that's what you're doing, I'm like, oh, I'm cool. This is not, you're not serious. I'm now serious. And that's okay. That's just who you are. You don't want to change, and that's okay for you. I love that for you.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. And that's why I'm very serious about being honest now with people and just being like, I just rather not.
Yeah.
Because ghosting is big. It's big out here in LA.
Very
and
big.
I am just a communicator. I'm a straight shooter, and I don't like ghosting because I don't like when it's done to me. So I don't want to do that to anybody.
Yeah.
I just rather be honest and just be like, yeah,
Some
no.
guys I cannot respect enough to care that much.
I feel that. That's a move.
I just cannot bring myself to care enough about a man's emotions, thoughts, feelings, or anything. I don't know if that's something I want to work on.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like it.
That's something I had to work on because, you know, the joke always was Nakia hates men. I would always be like, when we would work at the other place that we worked at as hosts, my sign off would be like, men are trash, men are trash. And where the producers had to be like, you got to stop saying that. You have to stop. Because the audience is mostly men. And I used to be like,
you must stop.
Okay. But as I got older, I had to realize that men had feelings too. I hate to even say this. Barf. And I am working on being non-anti-man because I want a man in my life. And I had to stop saying, even though it was a joke to me, I had to stop saying men are trash.
Right.
And understand that men actually have feelings too. It's hard for them to date. It's difficult, I guess, but to understand where they're coming from, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's really big of you. It's
evolving.
That's very evolved of you.
It's hard.
I wish nothing but the best for you in that place, because I don't think I'm big enough to like.
And it's okay to not be there yet.
I'm not there yet.
Yes, I'm not there yet. I had to get there. Yeah. And I'm still working on it. Yeah. I'm not waking up like, oh, yay, men. No. Absolutely not.
Because at that point you start being a pick-me.
Exactly.
And then you lose yourself
I am
all
very
over again.
anti-pick-me. Yeah. But I am I am more open-minded when it comes to men. Yeah. I'm more open-minded when it comes to men wanting to approach women, how they may feel rejection for them. These are things I didn't care about for them. I honestly didn't care. But now I'm like, oh, I could see why that would be hard for a guy. I can see why guys
scared.
They're very scared as well.
They're very scared.
and it's nerve-wracking. Like even now when I go with my girlfriends and there's a big group of us, I am like the mother of the group where I have the conversation. I'm like, ladies, spread out. Yes. Move. Men are not going to come and talk to us because they're afraid.
The rejection in front of their friends.
It's hard. Yeah. And even my friends are like, wow, look at you caring about men. I'm like, I don't. Yeah. But I understand coming up to a group of women and being judged and being rejected, that could be tough. So that's where I'm at, where I'm like, let's, but not too much. Not too much. Not too much for them.
Not too much.
Not too much.
Because comfort leads to like a whole other area, and I always say I don't want no nigga comfortable around me. I just don't. Don't ever be comfortable around me. Be on your toes with me.
Stay on them toes.
Stay on them toes. Ballet. I want to touch on like friendship. Yeah. And entering this hoe phase of your life, your adult hoe phase.
Yes.
Have you, the fun phase, have you found it kind of like hard juggling certain friendships since your dating style is different now?
No, because I think now, most of my friends, I have so many different types of friends. I have friends that are married. I have friends married with children. I have friends in relationships. I have friends that are single. I have friends who are that are getting over heartbreak. None of my friendships have changed. I'm very honest with my friends. Even my friends have noticed like, oh, you're a little bit more confident now because you're just having a good time. Yeah. My friends have encouraged me to actually get out there more because I used to be so insecure when it came to dating. I was so worried about like what a guy was going to think about me. And I had friends that would encourage me and be like, who gives a shit? I have married friends who give me great advice.
Married friends have the best advice. The best advice. When you're being intentional.
When you're being intentional. Yeah. And I get really great advice from like my married friends, and they're very honest. And it's none of the, which I love because it's none of the like bullshit married advice. It's like, hey, girl, you're single, live your best life. Like, you're going to find that guy, but I need for you to just live your best life and be honest. So none of my friendships have changed because we're all kind of going through it and trying to figure it out. Yeah. I don't even have really a name for it. I say hoe phase, fun phase. But I'm always like, God, whenever you're ready,
He'll drop the
doors open for my boyfriend. I just say single phase. Like,
single phase.
It's just your single girl phase, single fun girl phase.
Yeah.
And I want people to know, like, you can be single and be by yourself. You can be single and not want to date anybody, and that's okay. Because that's where I was a year ago. I was like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, because I was still healing. And then you can be single and want to date and have a good time. Go on dates and not have sex with anybody. Go on dates and have sex with people.
And that's fine.
And that is okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think that's the biggest thing I want women to take away from just like this episode, this show in general, is that there's no rule book
that part
to dating
at all.
No one path is for everyone. There are so many. I had sex with a guy on the first date and we ended up dating for like a year.
Wait, same as I dated someone for like 3 years and we had sex on the first date.
You know, there's no rules.
There's no
and then
rules.
you can wait 3 months to have sex with the guy and then he'll ghost you the next day. They are patient.
And then got ghosted.
They are patient.
I would feel like I was doing things the right way and it didn't really work out for me.
Yeah.
Where now I'm like, I just want to have a good time until my man comes.
Yeah.
If he comes, if not, okay. I'm in an okay space. But I want to have a good time doing it. I don't want to be miserable and single, because I think that's where I was too. I was sad. I was miserable. And not because I wasn't dating. I just was in my feels while I was single.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, you can be single and not be miserable. I just was heartbroken and harping on all these past relationships and doing the why not me?
Yeah.
Why did they pick them? Why not me?
Yeah.
Where I had to get over that. And it took a while, where now I'm in a space where it's like, fuck that. If they don't pick me, that's their problem.
And that's a dangerous space to be in when you're in that why not me, because the first person that gives you attention is the first one you're going to go with, and you're going to think like, this is it.
Yep.
And then they treat you so bad, but you don't know what love is.
Yep.
You're just so happy for the attention and the presence of a man that you just do and you say, and you're just happy for anything.
Yeah, and you deal with whatever. Yeah. And you take it on. And I feel like that's what I went through in my 20s, where I would get attention and I'm like, oh, this is it, because the last one didn't really pick me, but this one actually did.
Yeah.
And then I would deal with all the bullshit that came with it and wasted so much time.
I'm also very for, and I'm not like trying to break up happy homes or anything, but I'm very for taking a break from a relationship right now. Like, if you are in a relationship and you feel like you might be losing yourself, or you feel like you're living for your partner, I'm not saying go out and have a hoe phase, but I'm just saying it's okay to be, like you said, be on your own, right? Focus on yourself, and in a way just kind of be selfish.
It's okay to have a selfish phase too. Like,
absolutely.
And I have friends who are married and married with kids, and they always say, like, I have my selfish days. I have my selfish moments. And, you know, relationships are hard too. Like, and
they're work.
They are a lot of work, and there's so many people who don't actually want to do the work. And that's why there's so many breakups and divorces, because I'm like, if you guys are not trying to do the work, you're not going to therapy together, if you're not communicating with each other, that's going to be really tough.
You're doing both yourselves a disservice.
That part. So I think you should have a selfish phase. And I think maybe I'm having my selfish phase.
And that's like, your business.
Okay.
That's your business. I feel like as long as you're not hurting anybody and putting yourself in danger, that's all that matters. It's easy to just be happy to have the company, or just be able to say, well, I got a man.
Exactly.
But your man doesn't have you.
That part. Your man doesn't have you.
Your man doesn't have you.
I need that on a shirt. Your man doesn't have you.
Who has you? You have him. Who has you?
Exactly. That's why you have to have yourself.
You have to have yourself.
And date yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of people do not date themselves. And I think too, like, it's also like very interesting, because I have a lot of friends in relationships, and it's okay to have friends in relationships and be happy for that friend.
For sure.
And know that your time will come. And it might not be right now, but it's okay to be happy for your friend, because that's their moment and their time right now while you're being single too. So I seen a conversation about that on Twitter, where someone talked about, you know, when you're in your lonely stage, it is tough to kind of root for your friends and relationships. And I'm like, I can see why that would be not tough to root for them, but tough to see, especially if you're not getting that. But I think you have to remember that this person was also single, and this is just their moment right now.
And you also
and they deserve it.
And you have to recognize that it's a you problem. And don't take it out on your friends.
That part.
Because they're happy.
Exactly.
And you're not.
And when your time comes, your time will come, and your friends will be happy for you. It's one thing the pandemic taught me. One thing, a lot of people in my family have passed away. I don't have a lot of time. And like, I'm still young, but I just don't have time to waste. And I want my time to be precious, and I want it to be intentional.
I don't mind reciprocating.
Yeah.
I match energy.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, like I said, I just never want a man to feel comfortable with me, because once they start feeling comfortable, they feel like they can just kick back and lay back and they're good.
Yeah, and absolutely not.
I will shake your shit up so bad.
I will cut you.
I will cut you the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you're not going to understand what happened.
That part. And I think also being honest about that too, where I was the person who wanted to be courted, but I wasn't honest about that with certain guys, because I was afraid of losing the guy.
Let your needs be known.
Exactly.
Because they would have no problem if they're trying to hit.
That part.
They wouldn't mind. So if you want flowers on your date, then you have the right to say, I
want flowers.
I would love some flowers.
Tulips, to be exact.
Yeah.
Love tulips.
Specific.
You gotta be specific about everything that you want.
Literally spell it out for him, because they love to play dumb.
That part.
Play dumb and be dumb. Sometimes it's hard to tell because it's just like automatic for them. But they have no problem putting in their requests sounding like demands a lot of the time, and their expectations, which are never realistic. So, okay, match that. You get what you give. And I think women are too scared to match energy, and they feel like they need to overcompensate to earn him. Yeah. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And I think
women, because there's more of us, I believe, and women are too afraid to lose a guy. Yeah. Because when you say certain things, you're like, I don't want him to get upset, and I don't want him to
be turned off.
And be turned off. So I think a lot of us do this thing, or we used to do this, and we weren't very honest. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that. Mm-hmm. Where now I'm just like, this is just what it is. If you don't like it, that's fine.
So we're going to sign off soon. This is an amazing chat.
I love thanks for the safe space.
Of course. I love how just easy breezy it was, and we were both able to be so vulnerable. I love it. So before we go, I would love if you dropped one good gem to a girl listening right now who's going into her fun phase. Yeah. And give her a good first date piece of advice.
Ooh. Put your location on. Send your location to your friends. Me and my friends, I look at their locations even on a random day. I legit, before I came here, I see, what's Drew doing? I need to see where you are. I watch too much true crime. Do not be afraid. If you need me to show up with you at the bar, I could sit at the other end. It's okay to include your friends, because we're just in a day and age where you're meeting strangers and you don't know who people are. And I'm watching so many episodes where they're dating horror stories. Yeah. So that's my advice. Just put your location on, and don't feel pressure. You don't have to feel pressure to go home with anybody. Yes. You don't have to feel pressure to do anything.
No home first dates.
Please, no home first dates. No. And don't feel bad for saying that.
Yes. Don't feel bad for saying no.
Don't feel bad for saying no, because I know I would used to feel bad because I didn't want the guy to leave. Yeah. Just tell the guy that's not what I'm looking for. And the guy who will understand that will come. It may not be today or tomorrow, but the right guy will come for you.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much, Nakia.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I want to have you back. Honest. I like that. I love that.
I would love to come back.
Yes, we're going to have another episode. Yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, we're on Instagram, TikTok at MIAH Podcast, and tune in next week. Bye.